Dr. Marissa May. In this video, we're going to be looking at making all the transformations to trig graphs. Now, I, in a previous video, talked about the 5 key points you needed to know for the sine and cosine graphs and all the details. I'll be sure and link it in the cards above if you want to take a look at that. But we're going to start with those 5 key points here with our cosine graph. They are 0, 1, pi over 2, 0, pi negative 1, 3 pi over 2, 0, and 2 pi 1. So we get this sinusoidal curve that is cosine. Now remember, we're only looking at one period or one cycle of the graph. And so if we were to continue drawing, of course, we would make this wave continue on. Now, we're going to be looking at what do we do with all the numbers that can be added to a cosine graph. In its equation, how does that then affect its graph? So something to notice is that the number that's in front of cosine is indicating the amplitude. Now our amplitude has to be positive. And again, I talked about this in a different video. Again, I'll link it in the cards above for you. That number that's being multiplied in front of x, that's going to help you find the period by doing 2 pi over that number to find the period. Now remember what the period is. It's how long the cycle takes. How long before we complete one cycle of the graph? So for this video, we're going to take a look at graphing y equals -2 cosine of 2 parentheses x minus pi over 2 plus 1, and that's a lot. So let's break it down. We're going to work with what happens to the y values and what happens to the x values. And when we say those values, we're talking about these 5 key ones here. So this -2 here tells me that we're going to multiply the y values by -2, and then the plus 1 in the back end of the equation tells me we're going to go up 1. The plus 1 indicating we're going up 1. So I'm going to multiply the y values by -2, and then I'm going to go up 1 with them. Now, the rest of the numbers affect x. So this 2 right here tells me we're going to multiply the x's by non-2. Remember, we do the opposite when it's inside with the x. So we're going to multiply by 1/2. And this x minus pi over 2, we're going right pi over 2. Again, the opposite of what we naturally think. We think minus would mean to go negative, so we do the opposite because it's inside with the x. So let me flesh this out, what this looks like, okay? You're going to start with your key points, 0, 1. You're going to take your x value and multiply by 1/2. All right, I'm going to write that down. And I'm going to multiply my y values by -2. So now I'm going to go on my graph to 0, -2, and then I'm going to do my shifts. My plus 1 means I go up 1. My right pi over 2 means I go right there. Let me do it again so you can see it. I'm going to take my next point, which is pi over 2, 0. I'm going to multiply the x's by 1/2. Which is pi over 4. My y's by -2, which is 0. Plot that. That's 1/4 of a pi, so that's right here. Then I'm going up 1 and right pi over 2. Okay, let's continue on. Now I've got pi -1. Multiply your x's by 1/2. That gives you 1/2 a pi. Multiply your y's by -2. That gives you 2. So now you're going to pi over 2 and 2, which is here. Then you're going up 1 and right pi over 2. Okay, we got 2 more points to do. Let's do 3 pi over 2, 0. So we multiply 3 pi over 2 by 1/2. That gives us 3/4 of a pi and 0. So 3/4 of a pi is here. Now we're going up 1 and right pi over 2 puts me here. Last one is my 2 pi 1. Multiply by 1/2 gives me pi. Multiply my y values by -2 gives me -2. So now I'm going to pi -2, go up 1 and right pi over 2. So my graph looks like that. Okay, so you have to break down what you're multiplying by, taking your points and multiplying, and then you're shifting. Okay, let's talk a little bit about details now, because you're probably going to be asked for what is the amplitude. The amplitude is that number in front of your trig function, but it's got to be positive, so that's 2. What is your period? That's your 2 pi over the number being multiplied times x. The number being multiplied times x is 2 here, and so my period is pi. A couple of other phrases you might see are called phase shifts. Phase shifts is simply the horizontal shift here. So in this case, that's our right pi over 2. Okay? And then you also could be asked for your vertical shift. And your vertical shift in this case is your up 1. So I hope this helps you break down how to do all the transformations, right? We had a horizontal compression here, we have a vertical stretch, we had a phase shift, we had a vertical shift, we changed the period, the amplitude, all of those things. But remember, it comes back to these 5 key points. And I hope this helps you with your trig graphs. If there's another topic you'd like to see, be sure to leave it in the comments below. I'd be glad to help. Bye for now.